Hello dear grade 6 children. Today we are going to start the 8th lesson of the textbook, that is electricity for a comfortable life. So you all know how important electricity in our day-to-day life is, right? So this lesson is going to be a little long lesson than the other lessons. At the same time, we are going to do a lot of experiments as well. So let's see what are the topics that we are going to learn under this lesson. So you can see there are a number of topics that we are going to learn under the lesson. We'll go through them. Electricity for day-to-day life. So we are going to learn that there are instances in our day-to-day life. There are so many instances that we use electricity, right? So electricity has become one of the most important part of our lives now, right? So the next one, generating electricity. So after learning about the importance of electricity, we are going to learn what are the methods of generating or producing electricity, right? And preparation of circuits. You are going to learn how to make electrical circuits. So there you are going to learn there are different methods to connect different electrical components when we make the circuits, okay? Right. Conductors and insulators. So under this topic, you are going to learn only some materials conduct, only some materials let electricity to pass through it. Okay, so the other materials are known as insulators, right? And then electronic appliances, not only electrical instruments, we are going to learn about some electronic appliances too. So there we are going to learn what are the special components we need in order to make these electronic circuits, okay? And finally, we are going to learn conservation of electricity and prevention of accidents. There we are going to learn under this topic. As much as electricity is very important in our lives, at the same time, sometimes it can be very dangerous as well if we misuse it. Okay, so we are going to learn what are the methods to prevent these type of accidents caused by electricity, and at the same time we are going to learn electricity is a type of energy resource and we have to conserve it as well. So we are going to start the lesson now. Electricity for day-to-day life. This is the first topic of the lesson, right? So we'll go through this one. We need the energy to do our daily activities. So you all know that daily basis we have to do a lot of activities, right? So we have to cook food and we have to clean our houses and we have to wash our clothes likewise. Okay, children? So to do all these activities, we need energy. As we have already completed the 4th lesson, you all are familiar with different types of energy sources. There also we learn how do we use different types of sources of energy to do our day-to-day activities. Here we are going to learn how can we use electricity to do our day-to-day activities. Okay, children, we'll go through this. In the past, people used human labor to do work because in the past, when electricity was not there, right, there was no other way to use different types of machines to do the day-to-day activities. So most of the time, people used human labor to do these type of activities. And at the same time, natural energy sources also used. Sometimes wind energy was used and most of the time solar energy was also used. Okay, children? So today we use different types of energy sources to make our work easier. So electricity is one such type. So what are the examples that we use electricity in day-to-day life, children? Most of the time to cook food, we use a lot of electrical cookers. You all know we use rice cookers and sometimes we use hot plates, right? Electrical kettles, and sometimes we use induction cookers. So they all need electricity to work. Okay, children? So they all make our lives very easy. It saves our time, it saves our energy as well, right? So that is how in like day-to-day activities we use electricity. Even in large scale, sometimes electricity is very important, especially like in large factories to run the machines, electricity is essential. And at the same time, you all know that sometimes in agriculture we use electricity. Now here in this one it's given, in the past people used human labor to do work. Now you all know these days whenever we want to grind chili or other grains, we can use electrical grinders. Okay, we can use different types of machines like grinders to grind our grains and chili. What about the past, children? You all know that most of the time these people had to use a mortar and pestle. Have you seen the mortar and pestle, children? Right? You must have seen. So these type of, this is mortar, and grains or chili or something you need to grind, they used to put into this mortar. So using the pestle, they could grind these different types of substances, chili and grains and all, right, by pounding. Even nowadays, sometimes we use mortar and pestle, but most of the time we use different machines, grinders and electric machines. Okay, but those days in ancient time, people did not have this choice. They always had to use their labor, right? Human labor, and then only they got a lot of work done. And at the same time, you all know in agriculture, now Sri Lanka is an agricultural country, right? You must have seen a lot of paddy fields we have. Nowadays, you all know, using machines, we can do the harvesting part, right? Harvesting can be done using machines. But those days, in ancient time, they did not have these type of machines that run by electricity, right? You all know all these machines, most of the time, we need electricity to run them. So when there was no electricity, people had to use human labor in order to harvest during agriculture. Okay, children. And at the same time, you all know that in the 4th lesson, we learn about winnowing paddy. What is the meaning of winnowing paddy, children? You all know that when in agriculture, in paddy cultivation, after harvesting, the seed is known as paddy. So seed has this type of outer cover, which is known as right chaff, right? Sometimes inside of the seed is empty, only half filled. These type of things should be separated from the good paddy. So in that case, most of the time, those days, people use the wind energy to separate this good paddy from this half-filled paddy or empty paddy. But nowadays, we can use electric fans instead of wind. Okay, children. So these are only of several examples of how electricity is important in our day-to-day activities. So even after going through these examples, it must be very clear now how important electricity is in our day-to-day lives. Okay, children? Right, we'll move on to the next. Right, we have an assignment to do here, children. So this figure shows how people do different household activities in different ways. Okay, look at these two different pictures, children. Now this is one method. This is another method. We'll name them now. This is picture 1. This is picture 2. Right. Look at this picture. Here given how cooking food is done using firewood hearth. Right. Cooking food is done using firewood hearth. There what you have to do, you all know that for combustion, right? For the burning of firewood or burning of anything, air is necessary, right? Because oxygen is very essential for combustion or burning something. Okay, children? So in that case, we have to provide a lot of air when we burn firewood. Okay? So for that purpose, you can see this lady is blowing air using this pipe. So their metal pipes are used. Using these type of metal pipes, when we blow air into this hearth, it gets enough air, it gets enough oxygen, and therefore firewood burns really well. Okay, so when firewood burn well, what happens? More energy can be obtained, right? Okay, so this is the method of This is one method of cooking food. Look at this one, washing clothes by hands, right? Even still nowadays, a lot of houses have washing machines like that, but there are areas where electricity is not there. In that case, they have to wash their clothes by hands. Okay, children? And look at this one. The child is studying using the kerosene lamp. Okay, children. So as I told you, even in some areas, still people using these type of kerosene lamps where there is no electricity. There are other methods of generating electricity in those type of areas as well. But sometimes they have to use these type of equipment too. Right, children? We'll move on to the next one, number 2, second one. So here also cooking food is done but using electric cooker, right? This is a rice cooker. Using electricity, cooking food is done, right? And here the same activity, washing clothes is done by a washing machine, right? You all know it's easier and faster. Okay, children? Here you all can see reading a book. Studying is done using a electric lamp. There you all know that if you must have experienced this. When there is no power during the night time, sometimes we have to use candlelight or these type of lamps too, right? Then you all know that the light produced by these type of lamps or candle is not enough, right? It's a kind of dim light compared to these type of electric lamps. So you using electricity, you can obtain more light. Okay, children? So when you compare these two pictures, right, you can clearly understand this picture, all these activities are done faster and at the same time it's very easy to do these activities. This is possible because of electricity, children. Can we run any of these instruments, any of these appliances without electricity? We cannot, right? Because we have electricity, these activities are possible, right, children? Now we are going to watch a video related to these two pictures. You will realize what are the easy methods of doing day-to-day activities. Right, children? So you observed how different activities are done very easily, right, children? Instead of using ancient methods, how modern methods are used using electricity, you can get a lot of activities done very easily. Okay, we'll move on to the next. So prepare two separate lists to show the different activities done by people in each figure. Right? What we have to do is the same activities done but in different ways. In two pictures, same activities done but in two different ways. Here without electricity, basically manually they are doing these things, but here with the help of electricity they are doing all three activities. Okay? So Prepare two separate lists to show the different activities done by people in each figure, right? We'll do this now. I will help you with the first part. Now you all can start this one along with me, okay? So at here you can stop the video and you can do this one, and later you can watch the video and check how I'm going to do that one, okay? And make sure here only 3 instances are given: cooking food, washing clothes, and studying or reading book, right? So you can think of the other examples as well, ironing clothes or something like that. Okay, children, we'll do this one now. I will show only the first step. The other 2 things you can do by your own, okay? Right, let's write this. Activity picture 1, picture 2. Right. So first we'll write the activities: cooking food, washing clothes, reading a book. Cooking food. Picture 1. Cooking food is done using a firewood hearth, okay? Using firewood hearth. And here by a rice cooker. Okay. Number 2. Washing clothes. So the first picture by hand, here by washing machine. Number 3. Reading a book. Let's write reading a book at night. Okay. Picture 1. Using a kerosene lamp. Here using an electric lamp. Okay. Right. So I told you, you can write other examples as well. I will show you some more examples, right? So you can think how during the ancient time people must have done these type of activities, and nowadays using electricity how these activities can be done. Okay, children? Right. 4. Let's write grinding chili. grinding chili. I explained y'all using mortar and pestle. Those days, grinding chili and other grades were done. Nowadays, grinders, electric grinders, okay? By mortar and pestle. By electric grinder. I will write one more example here. Ironing clothes. Ironing clothes. Right. So ironing clothes basically, in those days when there was no electricity, it was basically done by a machine, a special type of instrument called charcoal iron, right? If you remember, we learned this in the 4th lesson as well about the charcoal iron, right? So charcoal iron, how to iron clothes using charcoal iron, children? There you have to insert this burning charcoal into this iron, and because of the heat of the charcoal, the iron also gets heated up, and then you can use it to iron clothes, okay? But nowadays we have electric irons, we can easily use them, okay children? So ironing clothes by charcoal iron, by charcoal irons, nowadays by electric irons, okay children? So we will right children? So we'll go through this one. I wrote 2 more examples. You also can do the same, compare and think of the activities that you do in your day-to-day life, right? And you can think of how they must have done during ancient time the same activities, and how easy it is to do with the same activities using electricity, because nowadays we have electricity and a lot of electrical appliances too, okay? We'll go through this one. So the activity cooking food, in the first picture it was done using a firewood hearth. Second picture was done by a rice cooker, right? And washing clothes was done by the first picture by hand, second picture by washing machine, okay? Third picture, reading a book at night during a kerosene lamp in the first picture, and the second one using an electric lamp, okay? So number 4, grinding chili. Remember, 4 and 5 are not given in the picture, but you can think and write these type of instances, right? So grinding chili, if it was in the first picture, we can consider during the ancient time, right? By mortar and pestle. And the next one, modern method is by electric grinder, right? And the last one, ironing clothes, ancient method was by charcoal irons, and modern method by electric irons. Okay children, right? So what is the next one asked here? So I told you I'm going to do the first step here. The other 2 steps you have to do, okay? So which figure shows the easiest ways of doing work? Discuss the reason with your friends, right? Which figure out of these 2 figures, which figure shows the easiest method, children? Easiest one is shown here. That is because it's easy to do, because we don't have to use our labor much, and at the same time, time is also saved. This is faster and easier both. So here we need our labor. We have to have our energy to do these type of activities. Look at this one. I told you, when you cook food using the firewood hearth, we have time to time, we have to blow air into the hearth, right? So that firewood will burn really fast. So you have to keep an eye on this continuously. And at the same time, it takes time, right? Here you don't have to keep an eye because it automatically goes off most of the time. Therefore, you can pay attention to something else, right? And at the same time, this is faster because electricity provides a continuous amount of heat, right? Here what happens, time to time you have to blow air into this one to check whether the firewood will blow off, and at the same time, when you consider the heat provided by the firewood, it is less than that of electric cooker. Okay, so this method is obviously easier. Right, children? Even in the second instance here, you have to have your physical energy in order to do this type of activity. To wash clothes by hands, you have to have physical energy, and at the same time, it takes a longer time. Right? And what about the washing machines? Washing machines, these type of machines are programmed to do this activity for washing clothes, for drying clothes. It's so nicely programmed, and you just have to put the clothes inside and the machine will do the work by itself. Right, children? Easier and fast at the same time. Right? Even earlier I explained you all can use these type of kerosene lamps to read books at night. The light energy given by these type of instruments is little less than that of electric lamps like this. Okay, children, therefore, it's very easy to figure out that when you consider these two pictures, this picture shows the methods that can be done very easily than here. Okay, children, look at this one. The first one, prepare two separate lists to show the different activities done by people in each figure. We did that. Which figure shows the easiest ways of doing work? So we can easily write. You all have to write this one. The first picture, first figure. Discuss the reason with your friends. You all can discuss. We already discussed this one. Because of use of electricity, we can get all these activities done easy and faster. Or simply you can add something to this one. Because of use of machines, we can get these activities done faster. At the same time, it's possible to run these machines because of electricity. Without electricity, we can't run any of the machines or any of the appliances which was given in the picture 2. Right? So then prepare a small booklet about commonly used electrical appliances, including their photos, pictures and other details. Now this is a small activity you all have to do at home. Okay, very easy. You can find pictures from newspapers or magazines, right? And you have to make a small booklet. Right, children? You all do this activity, then you can improve your knowledge by doing these type of activities. Okay, children? We'll move on to the next. So there are so many other day-to-day activities where electricity is used. We discussed about some instances, okay? So in the picture, they have given 3 instances. Cooking food using electricity, right? Washing clothes and reading a book using electric lamps. In addition, I gave you 2 other examples, ironing clothes and grinding chili using electric appliances, okay? So what are instead of all these things, what are the other instances, children? Are there any other instances? Yes. If you look around, you will see how important electricity is. There are so many appliances that we use in our day-to-day lives that we can't live without using them most of the time, right? Because they make our lives so easy. We realize how important our electricity is when there is a power cut. Okay, so when there's a power cut, we can't run any of those machines. So then we realize how important electricity is in our day-to-day lives, right? How much we have used to depend on electricity nowadays. Okay, children? So there are so many other day-to-day activities where electricity is used. What are the other examples, children? So a lot of factories use electricity to run machines. Okay, let's write. Right? In factories to run machines. Right? So at home, we use different other appliances to use appliances such as we use fans, TV, radio, fridge, what else? AC machines, right? What are the other examples? So electricity is necessary to charge our phones, right? To charge phones, chargeable lamps, okay? And to charge our computers, laptops, we need electricity. We'll write to charge phones, laptops, some lamps, right? For electric vehicles also need electricity, right? For electric vehicles, right? Okay, children. So these are, again, there are a lot more than these instances. These are also only some other instances that we use electricity in our day-to-day lives. Okay, children. There are many other instances that we use, even more than these instances, right? That we use electricity. So you have to make a long list. I gave you only some examples. But you can look at your house, right? Look at the other places where electricity is used. Right, children? So you can make a long list, a longer one than this. Okay? Right. We'll move on to the next. So we are coming to the next topic, generating electricity. So look at this one. Now you all know we use electricity in our day-to-day lives, and at the same time we know how important electricity is to do our day-to-day lives easily and faster. Electricity is very important, right? So how to generate or how to produce electricity, children? Under this part, we are going to learn about how to generate electricity. There are different methods, okay? Right. Simple ways of generating electricity. Electricity is very useful to human beings. People use different methods to generate electricity in different instances. Okay? We have this assignment to do. Mention the methods of generating electricity in following instances. Look at these things. 4 instances are given. Operate a wall clock. To operate a wall clock, how do we get electricity? You all know that to operate a wall clock, we have to insert batteries. Even though in day-to-day life, we call them batteries, but they are actually known as electric cells. Okay, children? So to operate a wall clock, what do we have to do? We have to insert, there's a small part behind the clock and we have to open it and you have to insert the cells. These are known as dry cells. Okay, electric cells. These type of electric cells are known as dry cells. Okay. So day-to-day life, we call them batteries, but when we learn science, we are going to learn them as dry cells. Okay. So to operate a wall clock, I will write here itself. Dry cells. Right. For solar-powered calculators, what is the meaning of solar-powered calculators? You must have seen calculators, right? To operate a calculator, there are small buttons inside the calculator most of the time. But sometimes you must have seen some calculators have a small part where a solar cell present. Right? So sometimes in calculators like this, you all know that a screen is present here and small buttons present in this area, right? Small buttons present like this. Right? Instead of this one, normally calculators are like this. Instead of this, have you seen sometimes instead of this type of calculators, have you seen sometimes some calculators have a small Okay, that is a small solar cell, which means even without the battery, if we hold this calculator to sunlight, even without the battery, we can make this work, right? We can use this one. That is because of the solar cell present here. When the sunlight falls onto the solar cell, it can generate electricity. When it generates electricity, we can use this calculator. Normally what happens, calculators have small batteries. Using the batteries, electricity is provided or generated, and then we can make the calculator work, right? But even without that, some calculators have these type of small solar cells connected to the upper part like this. So using that one, even without the battery, if sunlight is available, we can use the calculator, right? Okay. For solar powered calculators, what do we use? Basically, solar cells, small solar cells present. Solar cells. Right, children? Okay. To operate fans at home. So how do we operate fans at home? You all know that we have to plug the fan to the main supply, right? So to the, when there are switchboards, right, to the plug point, we have to plug the fans to the plug point, and thereby when we switch on the fan, we can make this work. Okay. So there, how does it get electricity? From the main supply. This is known as domestic electricity supply, right? Domestic electricity supply. But we have to understand that, right, electricity is generated at some other place. This one, of course, we discussed in the fourth lesson as well. When we learn about electricity, we discussed that there are different ways that electricity is generated, different types of power plants, right? So in different types of power plants, electricity is generated, and it is through wires, it is given to your houses, right? So this type of supply is known as domestic electricity supply. Okay, so operate fans at home, we have to use domestic electricity supply. Okay, children? Right. Next one. Light bulbs in an area where there is no electricity. You all know, even in our country, there are many areas where electricity is not there yet, right? So how do they light a bulb or make their small machines work, children? There they can use solar panels. Do you know what a solar panel means? Solar panel is made by combining small solar cells, a large number of solar cells, and it's a kind of battery, right? By combining solar cells, a large solar panel is used. When we expose it to light, what happens? Solar energy falls onto this solar panel and it can generate electricity. So the area where there is no electricity, electric supply, where there is no domestic electricity supply, they can use solar panels. Okay, children? Right. So light bulbs in an area where there is no electricity, solar panels. Okay. So for instances, mention the methods of generating electricity in following instances. To operate a wall clock, dry cells are used. Okay. For solar powered calculators, solar cells are used. Okay. To operate fans at home, the main domestic electricity supply is used. And light bulbs in an area where there's no electricity, solar panels are used. Okay, solar panels are made by combining number of solar cells. Using solar power, using sunlight, these type of solar panels can generate electricity. Right, children? Okay, so we have come to the end of the first chapter. So under this chapter, we learned that how important electricity is in order to do our day-to-day activities. And at the same time, we did this assignment to find out what are the methods of generating electricity. To learn that there are different methods of generating electricity. We are going to learn about these type of methods of generating electricity more in the next chapters.